Hello.
It's the royal wave. That's what I was doing. No.
Wait, was that actually go side to side, or is the royal wave more like this?
I mean, I don't know. The reason why I do that is because I know that sometimes the ads play and it cuts you off. And when I'm watching a stream and someone goes to say something and I've missed it, I feel like I missed the most important part. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Anywho, friends, we are here. It is Friday night. This is Stephanie from Trillium Tarot. Everybody say hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I will put her link in the chat for anyone who is interested in checking out Stephanie. It will also be in the description box below the video, because that's what we do. We share the love, friends. We share the love.
We do.
So in a moment, we will have Stephanie introduce herself and tell you what she does. But first and foremost, let's say hi to some folks that are here. Miss Deborah is in the chat. It is so nice to see you, Deb. I hope you're doing well. I hope that you are feeling good. And again, it's nice to have you here. Miss Louise is in the house. Thank you so much, Louise, for being here. Miss Joyce is here joining us. Thank you, Joyce, for being here. Appreciate your support. We have Janice. Janice.
Hi, Janice. Good to see you.
I'm in Ontario, Canada as well.
I met Janice in a tarot group that I'm in.
Oh, really? Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I see Joyce in a lot of my videos or comments.
Excellent. Hi, Linda. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I'm sure that more people will pop in as we go. Hello, Fatima. Happy Friday, my friend. So, I just want to mention really quickly how Stephanie and I came to know each other. Because it is a little funny. I mean, it is a little funny. Specifically, I would like to speak about the moment that you called me when I was in your chat that day, when you took over the live stream for the Speaker of the House vote.
Oh, yeah.
And you said, oh, a tarot reader, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Maybe we could get someone to come up on the screen and read. And I was like, forgive me. I'm trying to be polite. I was literally crapping myself because I was like, wow.
It's your channel. There's no need to be polite for my benefit. Yeah.
No, but I'm just that was a lot of pressure, right? And I was like, okay, mostly because friends, if we could be real for just a second. I was in my pajamas and my hair looked like this. Okay. And Stephanie is like, come on up here, Kelly. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I have seen your live with Johnny, so I recognize your name. And I was like, oh, sure, why not?
Right. Nothing like putting you on the spot. I'm like, that'll teach you to participate in a chat, Kelly. See that? Anyway, I went up on and joined Stephanie on the screen. And we just got on like a house on fire. We had all kinds of fun. You did, from what I understand, I'm so honored, you did your very first reading live with me. Uh-huh. Which is phenomenal.
Well, my very first live reading. I had done them myself and taken the time to try and interpret them. But yes, first live, it was scary as hell when I look back at it.
I just feel so honored that I was the one that got to share that moment with you. That's a beautiful thing. And since then, we've been sort of thick as thieves. And what I mean by that is, right, we support each other. We say hi to each other when we see each other. And we have been saying that we were going to do this for the longest time, but it just never worked out. So I'm thrilled that you're here. I'm going to pass the torch over to you. Introduce yourself. Tell people what you do, what they can see over on Trillium Tarot.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that we finally got this together because you're right. We had screwed around a long time about trying to put something together. And finally, Kelly said, she'll get off the potty. So here we are. Oh, good. I have a little cat helper, so we might have a little guest.
I have 3 of them. One of them's on the floor, but right there, you can't see.
Here.
Oh, hi, kitty.
And just so
you're in the right spot, kitty, because I'm the cat lady. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, we have 3 here as well. My black cat is over sleeping on the bed next to me, and the fat man's out in the other room. So
love it. Cat ladies unite.
Yes, absolutely. I mentioned that I had seen you live on Johnny's channel, and I can't remember the timing. I think I had already taken Johnny's beginner tarot class. Now, I had been interested in tarot for quite a long time, but that was the first class I'd taken. And I had a few decks, but nothing like I have now. Right. I kind of went on a tarot deck bender. Yeah. So over on my channel, I do walkthroughs of decks, so people can see the cards before they actually purchase the deck. I have done some live streams. I would like to do more, but I just haven't yet. Over on my website, my Trillium Tarot website, I have a few different pieces of information. I have a table that contains all the decks that I have done reviews of, along with the artist or author, and the link to that specific video on my webpage.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Yeah, so there's a table for tarot decks, table for oracle decks, and for Lenormand decks.
Cool.
Speaking of Lenormand, another part of the website has to do with my favorite readers that I watched on YouTube. I need to get you on there, actually, Kelly.
I was going to say.
Better run out to Glamour Shots, honey. You're about to be famous.
I have a Glamour Shot.
I do too, from like 30 years ago.
My Glamour Shot is from when I was 28.
Sounds about right.
So that's 30 years ago, because I just turned 59. Oh,
yes. I just turned 52, so mine might not be 30. Oh my God, what do you want?
It's like, honestly, I turn this camera on and they're like, right on, it's time to go live. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And Quincy literally, like, he just spins circles. Like, he's literally across my whole desk.
Yeah, I'm just kind of dangling my arm down there, and she's just rubbing her head on it and walking around in circles. Yeah. So.
Deborah is asking, is that on YouTube? So the spreadsheet that you're talking about, is that on YouTube?
Actually, let me, no, the tables that I'm talking about are on trilliumtarot.com.
Oh, okay. So Stephanie's going to put that in the chat so you guys can see her website there. I think that's what she's doing. Excuse me. Come on, Quincy, you have to get you in bed.
Also, another piece that people are frequently interested in is, I'm on my old laptop, so it's really slow. I apologize for the wait, but there's a table of all of the, going back.
I'm laughing. I'm sorry, because I'm reminded of the old dial-up, like the noise, and like you could go make like a cup of tea and like a sandwich and come back and like you still hadn't arrived yet.
Yep. Oh, now I have that tone in my head. Thank you very much. I did not need that.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So there, I put the website, my website, in the chat. If you go to the drop down, you can see the different tables for tarot or oracle or Lenormand. But there's also a list of all of Becca's grand tableaus if you follow House of Lenormand, with the date that she went live with the reading and the subject or the individual. So it's kind of interesting if you want to go back and see, oh, well, what was Trump's reading in 2020 or, 5 years ago? I think that goes back to 2019. I'm not sure. I also put together a a reference, a binder. I can't find it down here right now, but a PDF of my notes from the various tarot classes that I've taken. And here she is. I printed a hard copy for myself and I spiral bound it. So it's a really good reference. I refer to it a lot as I'm still practicing reading and so on. So nice. That's my Trillium Tarot Etsy shop. So I kind of have the 3 different things going on. Something that I'm thinking about doing. I haven't talked to anybody about this. So you guys can tell me if you think this is a good idea.
And it's an exclusive. Hold on. Let's play. We need to do something for an exclusive. What do we need to do for an exclusive? Okay. Here we go. That's the cowbell. That's the closest thing I have to any kind of bell.
That works. That works. I am debating because I want to keep building out my tarot website. I want it to be a good reference for all of us. So I'm thinking about putting together a database of what's on the back sides of different tarot cards. So if you're watching a reader and you like, I like that deck, you can go and try and drill down by what's the background color, or are there flowers, or I haven't really thought through how I want to sort out the database, but
right.
I don't know, maybe it's,
I think that's an interesting
over ambitious. I don't know.
Well, it is overly ambitious, absolutely, but I also think that it's a neat idea because oftentimes people will ask you what cards you used, and like in the comment section or underneath the reading, and it's like, I mean, I hope that nobody misunderstands what I'm about to say. These readings aren't for me, so I don't remember them. It's rare that I remember a reading, right? So like I do the reading and it's gone. And so by the time I have to watch the whole thing, like, so I know what cards I used too, you know what I mean? So it would be super helpful. I always try to tell everybody, though, when I'm doing my reading, what the cards are. Like Johnny Never, for example. Shout out to Johnny Tarot's Apprentice. He doesn't say the cards that he's using, right? And I'm sure that there's many people that would be interested because he has such a huge collection. But lots of people think that this is a great idea. Joyce says, wow, that's awesome. Deborah says, wow, that's a big one. Diamond, hello, by the way. Diamond, thank you for being here. Says, I like that idea. Bims popped into the chat as well. I want to say hi to Bims and Ellen. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So 3 things that you offer. You do walkthroughs of Tarot, Oracle, and Lenormand. You have a website. Wow.
And the Etsy shop. Yep. The Etsy
All
shop.
of a sudden, I feel very lazy. No.
No. The Etsy shop is stagnant. I mean, the only thing I have out there is the quick reference guide. I've updated it a few times. It's about 140 pages. The website, I haven't really done much with the website recently other than updating my tables about the videos that I do and Becca's grand tableaus. Otherwise, the rest of the content is just kind of hanging out there.
Listen, so, these things are a work in progress, I think. That's just my opinion. I have a website too.
Do you?
I don't know that anybody even knows that I have a website because I've never done anything with it.
I did not.
But, we all have these aspirations and these ideas and these concepts. And then, there's only so many hours in a day, right?
Yeah.
And that thing called life, every once in a while, it gets in the way.
Yeah.
Of our plans. So here's what I thought we would do. We'll have a little chat just for a little bit. And then if you guys want to see some decks, Stephanie has some tarot decks that she wants to show you, and I have some oracle decks that I want to show you, but you guys are going to choose the oracle decks. I'm not going to choose the oracle decks to show you, just to make it difficult or fun, depending on how you want to look at it. So what is a thing that attracts you, Stephanie, to a tarot deck? Like, what's the thing that says to you, ooh, yeah, buy that one? Or, yes, I want to use this one for a specific type of reading?
Good question. When I first started learning tarot or trying to, 10, 15 years ago before I took Johnny's class, I had gotten a Rider-Waite deck and a couple of decks that are now obsolete. So they're collector's item. There was a King Arthur one, and I don't even remember the other one. But I just never felt like I connected with the Rider-Waite deck. And I don't think I still would if I hadn't taken Johnny's class and he hadn't gone through the symbolism and the information that's contained within the cards.
Yeah.
So now that I have that basic understanding of the symbolism that was drawn into the initial cards, I can look at other decks that are similar but not exact. And I can say, oh, there's the wreath for the victory for the Six of Wands, or just the details more so than having to feel like I have to flip through the guidebook every time, because every deck is so different, and every reader or every author has a totally different meaning behind it.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point that you read. And I'd love to know from the people that are in the chat, how many of you read the guidebook when you get a tarot deck or an oracle deck, and how many just are like, okay, great, and move on?
Mm-hmm.
Show of hands or whatever in the chat. Let me know. Rarely do I ever read a guidebook. Rarely.
I have some that I have kept just because I liked the deck. Like I have
all my boxes and all of my books or whatever, my reference guide that comes, but rarely do I ever open it and read it. And I think that's because I'm not saying that this is how I do it, but I feel like this is how I do it. And my story is a little weird, but just really quickly. So when I started my channel, I didn't know how to read tarot. I didn't know how to read oracle. I didn't own a tarot deck. I didn't own an oracle deck. And so how did I land here? Well, I was part of the community in the chat. People said my story needed to be told. So I started a channel. And of course, I called myself a tarot channel because, I called myself an oracle channel first, and then I changed it to tarot. But anyway, long story short, I would sit here with my oracle cards and we would be having a chat, usually about some form of wellness, right? And people would be talking in the chat, and I would pick this up so I would stop smoking, right? Because people don't want to see my filthy habit when I'm on the screen. And I'd just be like, yeah, just fidgeting, keeping myself busy. And all of a sudden, Deborah in the chat would say blue, and I'd be like, oh my God, the card says blue. That's so funny. And people in the chat were like, that's because you're a reader. And I'm like, it's just the weird thing that keeps happening. For months, I was so oblivious, fighting it, like not paying attention. Once I clued in, it took me a bit. I'm a slow learner, obviously, work in progress, as I said. But once I started to embrace that concept, and I started getting more decks, I really allowed myself to just feel the deck. You know what I mean? And let the deck speak to me. And when I do certain readings, the card means one thing. Now it means something else because it's based on the cards that are around it. It's based on the question. It changes sometimes. Do you know what I mean? And so I try not to let the guidebook influence me. I want to read the cards the way I intuit them. And then there are other decks, like this deck. Holy cow, it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa over here. If anything falls, I apologize for the crash in advance. So this deck here, the Herb Crafter Tarot.
Yes.
Love this deck. So pretty, but it's Spanish. I'm not Spanish. I don't know if you could tell. And Spanish. And I had to get this guidebook out. And for the very first time, I had to like deface my cards because I had to like write some cheater notes on my cards just so I knew what the heck they were. And I say it all the time. I love this deck, but one of the reasons why I don't use it very often is because I can't pronounce half of the things that are on it. Like the names and it has like little like herbs or spices or something like that on like the picture, and I can't pronounce anything. So
are the cards themselves, other than like the court cards, are in Spanish? Because
no,
I have that.
no.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just saying it was one of those things where I was like, okay, you get the guidebook out. You need to figure this out. And it does come, I think, it comes with times, experience, right?
Yep.
Because not all tarot decks, but most tarot decks, and usually it'll say right on it or say right in the beginning of the guidebook, or on the box somewhere, that it is based off of the Rider-Waite system. And if it's based off the Rider-Waite system, then you have a fairly good understanding. As a note to the story that I was just mentioning, and on the theme of what we're talking about, I bought myself a deck of cards. Bear with me. This is a test so you guys can see I'm not wearing my pajamas.
Well, your hair does not look like the plant behind you, so you're good.
Right. I bought myself this deck, because I am Dozen Cats. I figured, why wouldn't you have a cat deck? And I broke this deck open, and I was like, say what now? There's nothing about these cards that make any sense as to what they are in reference to. And it was a lot to learn. It threw me off. I don't know what this is based on. So that deck didn't get used for a very, very long time. So I understand what you're saying and how some people would go to the guidebook to have that familiarity. When they start changing the suits, for example, instead of pentacles, now it's discs or it's coins, something like that, right? You go from the knight to the horseman, or from the page to like a prince or a princess. Like sometimes it can mess you up.
Yeah.
I got familiar with one deck, and then I sort of, once I felt that familiarity, similar to what you're saying, I sort of then allowed myself to branch out.
Some artists, or at least the way my brain works, for whatever that's worth, some artists are able to take liberties with the suits, the pentacles or the swords, and it turns into arrows, or it turns into, I don't know, licorice or whatever it is, and it still manages to make sense somehow. But a lot of times I really struggle with some of those decks that are very different. I love the artwork and I love the concepts behind it, but it can be a challenge. One of my favorite decks is, I say it is one of my favorites, I just don't use it very often, is the Crow Tarot. So like here is the 9 of Pentacles. It has the 9 discs and the number 9 on the top of it, but it's very different from the Rider-Waite imagery.
Yeah.
So weird on the screen, everything is reversed. I think I need to do lives more often and get my feet a little.
You can actually, in the StreamYard settings, I just actually learned this, you can turn your camera around so it mirrors you, so it's not like the opposite and then you're like pointing in all the wrong directions.
Mirror. Hey, look at that.
Yeah. So Deborah says the cards have to call to me, and I feel that very much. Like I am drawn to bright colors and things that have to do with like healing, right? I love like oracle decks, for example, that have like just one word. I don't need like a whole message. I like just one, you know what I mean? My tarot decks, I don't feel like they're similar per se, but I guess you could say that there is a similarity between all of them. They are more they're not dark, they're more light, right? because that's kind of the place that I reside in terms of what my readings are. So it feels appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that was by design or if that is just one of those things that just kind of happened. Like it just kind of naturally fell into place.
Yeah.
Oh, says that the crow is her chosen deck. Yes. Yes, Johnny. And good evening.
Hello, Johnny.
Roman numerals. Yeah.
Yeah. That threw me for a loop when I first started reading.
You know, when you have to take your socks off to be able to do a reading, it you know, it's a bit embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when you get there to like the 8 and 9, you're like, well.
When I put my cards in order before I do the walkthrough video. And I, even to this day, I'll struggle about, the Roman numeral IV instead of VI. I'm like, why can't they just put the number 6 or 4?
Yeah. Well, because, it's a test.
I know.
Everything is a test.
My brain's melted. I don't need another damn test.
Okay. So now, do you have decks that you have, for example, like I have a couple of decks like this, decks where I bought it because either it was like on sale or like everyone was talking about it, or like I seen a walkthrough and I thought like, yeah, and then I get it and I'm like, it's just not doing anything for me.
Yes. And I used to subscribe to the Witch's Moon subscription box. So I've gotten a few both Oracle or Tarot decks through a subscription box. So I didn't even choose them. One of them I was really excited about because it was a deck that I'd had in my shopping cart for, I don't know, a while and just never pulled the trigger on it. The Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot. Okay. And so that came to me in a subscription box and I was really excited and I got into it and it just did nothing for me. It just didn't hit me right. So it's in a basket back there. I have baskets of cards back there. And maybe I'll get to it at some point. It could be that being not a professional reader who does live streams all the damn time, it could be that the imagery just hasn't sunk into my brain yet to be a functioning part of me. And maybe I'll come back to it at some point in the future. I'm holding on to it just for that reason. But also, for the most part, I'm like you. I like positive energy decks or bright colors or, happy things because there's enough darkness in the world. You don't need to add to it.
Yeah.
But in another one of my subscription boxes, I got, it's Corrado Roy, and I can, Murder of Crows Tarot.
Okay.
Which I thought it would be great because it's like my Crow Tarot deck, that I love. Yeah. So I got into it, and there's no doubt that the guy is a fabulous artist. He specializes in, or seems to specialize in, black and white imagery. So it's very dramatic. But I got into that deck and I was like, ugh. It does have crows, but it has people in plague masks, and it's very, the imagery is just very dark.
Yeah.
And I just started again, Joyce. I got my first one. Actually, I could pull it out. I'll have to do a show and tell. So when I was taking Johnny's class, I mentioned this deck that I got that it just kind of weirded me out. And somebody asked me if I had actually done a reading with it to see if, what the communication was like, because sometimes your first impression of the artwork in a deck doesn't necessarily mean, I believe that it doesn't necessarily mean that the deck has negative energy or, the artist had negative intent, but we all have that shadow side of us or that dark side of us that we need to work with or work through.
Some of us are not familiar with that side of ourselves until we start pulling cards and we're like, oh.
Absolutely. So I did a couple of test readings with that when we were in class, and I was like, holy crap. I can't remember if I actually did the readings during the class or if it was when I was doing my practice readings and journaling and whatever, but they were spot on.
Sorry. Please excuse me while I go and close the door because the bugs are coming out, so the cats are attacking the screen. And it would be fun, I'm sure, for people to see the cats hanging like Garfield off of the screen. But, well, last night, friends, I had a raccoon on the door, or like on the patio when I was going to bed that was literally knocking against my window. Like, that's how close he was. So.
Wow. Yeah, I was just catching up on YouTube earlier today over my lunch hour. I started a different job, so I'm always working on site in an office location, so I'm rarely able to watch videos or lives during the day. But I saw during my lunch hour today, Autumn and Black and Orange Tarot had her arm all wrapped up. I was like, what in the world happened? So I went back far enough to find out that just a couple days ago, I don't know if it's the full moon with animals or what's going on right now, but a squirrel got into her house and one of her cats was chasing it. And I don't know if she tried to pick up the cat, but it bit her arm because it freaked out with everything going on. So she had to go to the ER. And so when you mentioned the raccoon right up against your door, that's what made me think of that.
Awful. I hope she's okay. Rosie got a bird yesterday, you guys.
Oh, snacks.
That's my dog.
Oh my God. And what did she do with the bird? One of my dogs got a baby ducky one time, and
it didn't end well.
It did. Oh, poor birdie.
Yeah.
One of my I don't have dogs now, but one of my dogs found a baby ducky, and she was a shepherd lab mix, so she had that really soft mouth, and she was just carrying this baby ducky around in her mouth. And we heard the mama duck just screaming and carrying on from the other side of the fence. So we went out there and, Sequoia dropped it, and she dropped this baby ducky, and it kind of shook its head and focused on its mom, and it could fit through the fence to get away. But she was just being a collector, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's their natural instinct is to hunt, right? So I think that the bird was injured to begin with, and she loves to play. So when she goes out there, they kind of like swoop down, and she's like, woohoo! I mean, she's still very much puppy-like, right? Well, this thing like swooped down but didn't woohoo back up. And I think she was, I don't know if she was trying to help it. Anyways. So yes, I agree with there's something going on regarding the energies in the animals. It's where I was going with all of that.
To circle back to that the Murder of Crows tarot deck, though, I felt such a strange affinity for it, even though I haven't used it very much. But I supported it's a Los Scarabeo deck on Kickstarter, so it's by the same artist, and it's called the Joker Tarot. And I could have gotten the full kit where there were 3 different sizes, one black and white, one full color, and one just kind of half and half. And I think the deck that I got was the regular size that was just kind of half and half colored. But that's another one that I've hesitated to do a reading with that one. I suspect that it would be another one that would really provide messages, but I still haven't done it.
I got this deck a long time ago when it first came out, and I loved it because of the animal. I love the artwork in it. It just doesn't it's not that it doesn't speak to me. It just doesn't fit me. If that
Same
makes sense.
Artist MJ Cullinane.
Yeah, no. When you pulled that out, I was like, "Yep, fine. Yep."
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I was gonna ask you something else. So, if there's decks that speak to you, if there's decks that you have been surprised by, and then I guess I would say or ask next. What's the most important thing? Like, what's the thing that you look for in a tarot deck? Is it the imagery? Is it the cardstock? Is it the colors? Is it just like a vibe that you get? Like, what's the thing that you think draws you to a particular deck that makes you like, ooh, I have to get that one?
Definitely a huge factor is my little goblin collector's heart, because I like to collect them. But as far as the ones that I actually use, it tends to be, I'm a cat person too, but even though I have several cat decks, I don't tend to use them very much. The ones I tend to use more often tend to be either plant related or, the witchy theme, like the Deborah Blake Everyday Witch deck. Some of them are like the Florana Tarot is kind of a unique perspective, because it's a combination of, I mean, it's kind of like giving human traits to plants or to plant people, or what they would look like. So I tend to like decks that are not, they're not standardized, or they're not very mainstream.
Right.
But I like decks that definitely have imagery to them. I've gotten some on Etsy that are, 3.5 ink blobs on a page, and that's supposed to be, or on a card, and that's supposed to be the 8 of Pentacles. And no, that doesn't work for me. So I honestly don't think I'm ever going to use those decks. I should just not keep them.
Right.
There's videos on my channel, but I'm not a huge fan of that. So if the artist gets too, I'm not a huge proponent of like modern art either, because unless it makes sense with the way my brain works, if I can't organize the thoughts, I'm the same way with music. I'm a huge fan of Il Divo and Il Volo and the tenors, and if I hear harmony, or if I can hear the math and the feelings and everything involved with that, that's what makes my heart grow 3 sizes too big.
Right.
But if it's
I kind of love that. That's kind of really, really cool way to look at it. Mine is not that deep.
Is it shiny and pretty and colorful?
Well, you hit the nail on the head with the color part. So for anyone that follows me, I don't know what my deal is. I don't know where this came from. I don't know why. But all my cards that I'm using for a reading must be color coordinated. I don't know how, and I don't know why. So quite often, the deck that speaks to me needs to coordinate with another deck of cards that I have, because I'm missing that color. Do you know what I mean? So like now it's really hard to find. Do you know what I mean? It's like, or you get one that goes with everything. Right? Like this tarot deck. Sorry. Bear with me, because I moved them out of the way so I wouldn't get myself all confused. So this tarot deck has, like, hello, this is my happy place, because look at all the colors I can pull from that, right? But when I have like this one, for example, I'm like, I'm limited. Do you know what I mean? I don't know where that came from. I don't know why. Like, it's not like my closet is organized by color. I'm just putting that out there. But that's what I do for the Oracle decks and the tarot decks. All of my cards must be matching in some form or fashion. It speaks to me, and so that's how I choose my decks. Like beyond the first 2 that I ever bought.
Johnny is asking about decks.
Yes. Joyce wants to know how many decks both of us own. I probably have like 50 Oracle decks and maybe like 15, 20 tarot decks, which I don't think is bad, considering that I've only been accumulating them for 2.5 years. I think that's pretty good. Stephanie looks like she's guilty about something right here.
Yeah. I think the last time I updated when I update the list of decks or tarot decks or Oracle or whatever. By the way, I have an Oracle deck here that I have recorded the video for, but it hasn't gone live yet. So I don't know if you've seen the Plant Spirit Oracle or not.
Excuse me.
but it makes me think of you. I think just tarot decks, I was up to like 225 or something.
Wow.
Close to it.
You got
and
a
then
problem,
Oracle,
man.
and then Oracle and Lenormand.
You need to call somebody.
Seriously, I need an intervention here. Johnny, please help me.
No offense, I love Johnny too, but I think he might be a bad influence on you. That's what I'm thinking.
He was trying to steer me away from Tarot Tube like 2 years ago or something. He's like, no, you don't need to go on Tarot Tube. I realized though, I have a couple of storage units that I need to clean out, not because of the tarot decks, but I still have stuff from, my hope chest when I was single, and then
so you're
when I was married, and then when my mom passed away, I cleaned out her house and then moved. So I have boxes of hers that I haven't even looked at. But I realized that out there, I probably have, I don't know, at least 20 Oracle decks that I haven't looked at for 10 years or so. And they're the ones that I started with, the Doreen Virtue and Stephen Farmer and all the Hay House stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I want to go back and pull those out and see if they grab me like they used to.
That's kind of cool. I like that. It's funny how you evolve over time and you sort of move away. I remember when I first got started, like I was just excited to, like I couldn't wait when a new deck got. Well, I was like, woo! And then it's like, yeah, but that one, that first one, that one's special. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
All right. So yes, Johnny, I have a deck, and we actually talked about this before. I think, Johnny. I can't remember what it's called. It's over here because I don't have enough space over here. So I'm just gonna go grab. I think it's called Tarot Divine or something. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. Go ahead.
All right. There is that Oracle deck of colors. It's swatches of chakra or something. I remember seeing Tony use it.
And then it's the kaleidoscope, right? And I have had that on my wish list. If anyone wants to send the Canadian girl their.
Okay, now it's my turn to walk away. I'll be back.
Okay. I wanted that kaleidoscope deck since I think that the first person I seen use it was Adrian from Red Lentil Healing, and I loved it. So yes, this deck here, Tarot of the Divine. I don't know. This was like the second tarot deck I ever bought. I don't like it. Don't like it at all. I don't resonate with it. I don't like the feeling. It's like they're slippery. It's like, honestly, it's like a plastic coaster. Is the cardstock like it's just, I don't even like the feel of the cards in my hand.
Which deck is that?
This is Tarot of the Divine.
I've been looking at that one, but
and I mean the images are beautiful and they're like they totally, they're my vibe. It's colorful and it's bright and it's plain to read and easy to read, but I don't like the feel of the cards. It's like, well, these are supposed to be linen, and I bought these off of Amazon. Just saying. Oh, that one. Yes, I have that secret language of color too. Connie. Sorry. Oh, I like that one. Swatches of Chakra. That's cool.
Yeah, and this is the one that Tony used on her channel, and it's just colors.
Yeah. There's one that's called, I think it's called Kaleidoscope, and I believe that Adrian from Red Lentil Healing used it. The first time that she was doing some chakra readings and she used it, and I really, really liked it. Oh, now I can't get the book out of the box. Pardon me while I have a fight with them. Okay. I'm lagging terribly behind. Okay. Deborah says, I got the storybook that made a difference for me. Okay. Joyce says, the first reader I saw on YouTube was Johnny, then Sienna Rose, then Autumn. Excellent. Bim says, if I were to get more cards, would I look for the one calling me or something that looks pretty for me?
I think it depends. That would depend on your purpose. If you are somebody who, like, I don't know if I'm more, if I had to quantify myself, I don't know if I would be more of a reader or more of a collector, because at this point I have too many decks that I haven't worked with. So if you're wanting something like from a collector's perspective, then the pretty definitely. But if you want something that is actively speaking to you or actively communicate, you can read with it easily and understand the messages, then I would probably go for the one that's calling you. I do have a huge, you can't see anyone's comments, Johnny said. I do have a huge thing that I try and always mention when I do videos is I like to beg people to please buy directly from the artist instead of from a rip-off artist in China. If it's a difference between a $15 deck and a $30 deck, suck it up and pay the $30 to keep these artists going, please. So I can't remember why I felt like that was
Canada
important.
When it costs you 3 times the amount of money. So
yeah, I don't know why I felt like that was important to throw out, but
like, for example, this deck here that I have in my hand, because here in Canada we got all the prices on the box. This deck, when it was purchased, was $29.99 in the US and $39.99 in Canada. Plus, depending on what province you live in, you pay 13% tax if you live in Ontario, like I do. That's a lot of money for a tarot deck, friends.
I didn't realize your taxes were 13%.
Here in Ontario, they are. In Nova Scotia, for example, they're 15%. They're different everywhere.
Well, and see, that's when people talk about, free healthcare in Canada. It's not free.
No, it's not free. Not free. We don't pay as you go.
Mm-hmm.
We pay in advance.
Right.
But it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so Johnny, can you see the comments if I put them on the screen, or like not at all? I'm assuming on the screen. I'll just put all the comments on the screen so Johnny can follow along.
Well, another question is, this is the first time that since the first time I've done really a collaboration like this, I've never streamed someone else's channel onto my channel before. So maybe it makes a difference if Johnny clicked the link on my channel or if he's directly on the Dozen Cats channel.
If he's in, here's the thing. So when I'm looking at the screen, right, I can see everyone's comments on both channels.
Mm-hmm.
In my comment section. If you're in my chat, they can't see your comments, and if they're in your chat, they can't see the people in my chat's comments. However, I can see them only because I can tell which one is which, right?
Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why, Johnny, if you're watching on the Trillium Tarot channel, I have all of, I think, 461 followers, and Kelly has like 1,600. So
he said he's on both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Joyce is on Trillium Tarot and can't see Kelly's chat. It's all good. Okay. I mean,
yeah,
it's all good.
Yep.
Johnny, we'll walk you through it. So Johnny's asking if we have a wish list.
I did at one point. I don't know. I know I created an Etsy wish list so Pete would have Christmas gift ideas for me one year. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But,
I'm so bad because with my wish list, I would like put them in the wish list, then I take them out of the wish list, then I put something else in. I couldn't like to leave it in the wish list. I think there's only 2 decks that I have in the wish list. Or on a wish list, if you want to call it that, which the wish list is in my head, which one is the Kaleidoscope, And there is a past life reading deck that is circular. I can't quite commit to it, but I want it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh yeah, the Kaleidodope Tarot. Is that the one you're talking about? Okay. Yeah, I see that on her website. Crystal Banner is the creator or artist.
Yeah. Oh, and then the Monopoly deck tarot deck is very cool as well.
Yes, that one I have. I saw Adrian using that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's very cool.
Jasmine.
Hi, Jasmine. Is it Jasmine or Jasmine?
That's Jasmine, and she farts rainbows and just spreads sunshine wherever she goes. Actually, she did a podcast with Johnny. She has a podcast. Jasmine, remind me, is it Are You Spiritual? Is that the name of it? I need to brush up on my podcast stuff, but
I love that.
She's actually in the tarot group that I'm in too, and she's awesome. I love her.
So Jasmine's asking, do you use different decks for different vibes or subjects? Like if you are reading for love or finances? I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I don't know how I know. Like, for example, when I'm setting up to do a private reading for someone where I don't know what they want to ask about, like they've not given me any information, and I just somehow know the cards to use. And I think the way that I know that is not necessarily based on me or the person. It's the same way that I set out every day and do my readings. I just look over here, like I know you guys can't see, but I have, well, I'm just gonna, if Quincy doesn't mind, of course, Quincy's now.
See, I was cracking up at his tail.
So I'm just going to try to pull the Leaning Tower of Pisa out enough that you guys can see this, but I have a rug mat thing, and I'm really trying not to. Okay, you ready? Well, if you guys could see Quincy's face right now. So this is just a few of them. This goes from the bottom of my desk to, okay, so where are we? This is this box right here, right? Dragon. There are this many more on top of it.
Oh, wow.
And
it's leading.
It's leading. You guys can see to the C part, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more decks underneath it, just to give you an idea of how tall this is. And then I have a whole set of shelves. I've got drawers over here, and I've got a whole other side that's beside this. I just look over and choose. And I don't know how I do it. I don't know why I do it. I just seem to know. And it is amazing, really, when you think about it, that it always seems to work. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. So sorry. All right, go ahead. What was I going to say? I was going to ask you something.
Jasmine is asking which deck. I use Light Seers for my personal readings because they're so gentle.
Quincy, you got to get out of the way, baby.
At the moment, I don't know that I just read for myself, so I don't really, I kind of play around with different decks, with different, whatever I'm.
I have 3 main decks that I would say, or 4 main decks that I would say that I use, like on a regular basis, right? They're like my go-to. So this is the Angel Wisdom Tarot. Of course, we have, and these are always out on my table always have crystals on top of them, and then of course I charge them on my charging plate. My crystals, like I switch them out, but these are always out and ready to go. Like they don't sit in their box. All of my oracle cards sit in their box or their bags or whatever they came with. As you can see, by the way, I pulled that out. I've got light seers. I have the One World Tarot, and then the Herb Crafter Tarot that I showed you guys. And for those of you that have never seen it, just really quickly, this is the back of them. They're so pretty.
I love the back of the Herb Crafters.
Right. And then, so let's find one that has a really cool picture that I haven't written on. Like, just has the most beautiful, like, springy kind of summery, think Hamptons or like, cottage kind of vibe, right? Like, it's just, they're just beautiful cards. Light and easy and breezy, and they kind of go with everything. Now, what's interesting is the question that Jasmine asked makes me think of something that Johnny does, which I want to ask you about now that she's asked us that, because it's made me think. Do you have like he calls them the magic deck, I think, right? Do you have a magic deck, a deck that you wouldn't use for everything, but only for a specific few things?
No, not really that I have, at least not one that I've identified as a magic deck. I have some, I truly believe that the deck chooses the reading, because I'll have some questions sometime and I'll reach for one deck and it's almost like my stomach clenches and my hand's like, nope, not that one. So it's like I'm being redirected somewhere. So I've been directed away from different decks for different readings, but not that a favorite that I have.
This is mine for like, the icky stuff that I'm like, if I have to read it, you know what I mean? Or like if I'm doing, I don't know, like a deep dive on something, which I've been known to do, right? Like I did a deep dive on Scientology one time. Sometimes I've done like Johnny and I did a show on something. I don't know what the heck it was, and I use these, but there's certain readings that I'll kind of go with this deck for. They're little. I have the hands of an 8-year-old, so that works for me. But they're very plain. Like, they're just simple. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why I would choose a simple deck without a whole lot of artwork or imagery, but it seems to work.
Sometimes the absence of clutter is a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes all those extra clues are a good thing. So
I just thought that was an interesting mention. Yes, I'm living dangerously. Okay, so now I have to say, like, I love tarot, but I feel like I'm like an oracle girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
an oracle deck can do, just in my opinion, or maybe it's my attachment to an oracle deck. I don't know which one it is, but there's just something that an oracle deck can do that is a step above, in my opinion. Like for me, right, as a reader. And I most definitely have decks that work for certain things that don't work for other things. I don't really subscribe to the whole, love deck or like the finance deck. I don't really subscribe to that. I have one deck that is like a past life deck that obviously you use for a past life reading. But for the most part, I think that my oracle decks are, multifaceted, multi-purposeful. I have purposed them for specific things. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Johnny brought up a good question. If you had to explain the difference between Oracle and Tarot to a beginner, what would you say?
Save yourself the trouble. No.
I think it's kind of interesting because it sounds like you and I both started at different points and then kind of did a swap, but also kind of dabble our feet in the other. I know I mentioned that when I first started playing around with cards, it was Doreen Virtue, Oracle deck, the Hay House stuff, not exclusively Doreen Virtue, but that was mostly what was available at the time.
Yeah.
I have to figure out the best way to say this. I still have an attachment to Oracle decks, but I think in a way, this is probably a growth opportunity for me now that I'm thinking about it. One thing I like about tarot is it has more structure to it. The cards mean what the cards mean, no matter what the images on the cards look like. Whereas Oracle cards almost scare me in a way. Circling back to the whole shadow work and the dark side that we all have. I started out with Oracle decks, and I was in a completely different place, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and then a whole lot of bad stuff happened over just like a 5-year time period. Marriage failed. My mom died. By the way, Wednesday was 2 days ago was the 10th anniversary of her passing. And my life just kind of imploded. So I totally got away from any type of introspection and any type of spirituality. And I'm still kind of feeling my way back in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So something that I like about tarot cards is they mean what they mean, but I can choose whether to apply them to that introspective side of myself and go dive deeper and take that deep breath and, face whatever it is. Oracle cards go a lot deeper. And I don't know that I'm necessarily at the point in myself and my own growth that, not that it would be bad for me, but it just scares me at the moment.
Yeah.
So Oracle cards have the potential to,
I think that what you're pointing to is that there's like a level of almost like intimidation when it comes to an Oracle card for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's interesting because I feel the exact way, but opposite.
Yep.
I think that tarot is intimidating in terms of like a shadow side or like a self-help kind of vibe. Whereas an Oracle card I feel safe with, because I can interpret that the way that I need to, meaning how deep I go or how surface level I go with it, right? Depending on how I feel, whether I'm like ready to embrace it fully or if I'm just like kind of like just testing the water out with my toe. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's funny, isn't that? Like, that's so amazing that, but you know what that speaks to is, how individual it is and how it really is a vibration, like an energetic understanding. And I know that sounds completely ridiculous, but it's like if you ever walked into a gem store and you walk by the pendulums, some people are going to have a pendulum that's going to react to them and start swinging off of the shelf, and others are not. Some are just going to be attracted to the color. Wow, that's beautiful.
This is the Oracle of Pythia, and this is where I hang my pendulums. I figure having an Oracle figurine handy is perfect for...
I love that.
Yeah.
I just think that it's very individual. At least that is my experience, right? And so what I'm trying to say to you is this, right? And BIMS, now this is great to tie into what I was trying to say. I understand why people ask these kinds of questions. I would ask these kinds of questions if I wasn't tossing cards and I wanted to, or just because I was curious. If you are just beginning, or you're just starting out, or you're getting back into it, my best advice to you is to tune out other people, other things that you've heard, or maybe other readers that you've watched, and just really allow yourself to sort of tune into your own inner voice. What is that telling you, right? For those of you that watch me, you guys know how I read. Right? Sometimes I will sit here and shuffle and shuffle and shuffle, and I will wait till they pop out. Other times I flip them over one at a time. Other times I'll flip over a card. I shuffle, I flip. I don't know why I do what I do. All I know is that when I do it, people say that, yes, that's right. Or yes, that resonates. Yes, that makes sense. Yes, whatever. I have no formula, is my most honest answer. You really have to develop your own connection to what's happening within you, because the way that I understand this, I am just the messenger. I am just I'm the machine that is shuffling the cards. Spirit is the one who's giving the card to me. Do you know what I mean? And I will stop when the right card is ready to pop out or be flipped over. I just really put my faith and my trust in that. And before I read, I say a prayer. Like before I go live or whatever, I say a prayer, and I just let that be my voice. And I could do it 12 different ways. I could do 12 readings in a show, live, whatever, and do it 12 different ways. I don't know how else to answer that, honestly, and I realize that's probably not helpful, but that's the honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Kira. So Deb says her cards jump. Now, when you read, Stephanie, are you very methodical about how you put your cards down? Because you had said before that sometimes you're a little bit unsure still in some things that you're doing. So are you very do the same thing all the time in the same way, if that makes sense?
For the most part, up until whenever we started this, or I joined this tarot group, I had stuck very closely to the Celtic cross. Right. And there is definitely a time and a place for that, but being a part of this group and playing the little games and just getting to know tarot, yeah, I've been playing around more with different layouts, different like you said, ways of pulling cards, whether it's just flipping them off the top or spreading them out and drawing them that way. Yeah, I'm experimenting more than I used to, which is
I've tried to do what Johnny does, but I've got the hands of an 8-year-old, and usually the decks are, come on, they're huge compared to my hand. My hand's behind the card. You know what I mean? So I can't manipulate the cards that way. I'd love to, because I think it looks totally cool. I couldn't do that. I need an automatic card shuffler. That's what I need for the decks. Mm-hmm. That's what I need.
I'm not familiar with the garden wall, Deborah. Have you heard of that, Kelly?
No. Okay. No. Hi, Pierrette. So we were supposed to show you decks. We didn't show you any decks. We just talked. But Stephanie does reviews and walkthroughs on her channel. Please go check her out and show her some love. But before we go, she has a couple of decks sitting on her on around her right now that she can pull a couple of cards from. And the first three, I'm going to give you guys a set of numbers, and the first three people that sort of give me some numbers, I'll pull a card, and then we'll do sort of a collective reading on the spot without knowing what the heck we're reading about, which should prove to be slightly entertaining. So I'm only going to pull from my oracle cards, and Stephanie's going to pull from her tarot cards. So I'm going to give you guys between 1 and 50. So I'll pull like 3 cards. I have all the decks all around me. So you guys pick the number and I'll pull that deck. And then Stephanie can pull some, like 3 tarot cards. Oh, look at that. 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 people. See, that's my mother. I love that. Hi, Gina. All right, so 25, 47, and 20. All right, so you pull 3 cards, Stephanie, and I will pull those decks.
Just collective what we need to hear, right?
Yeah. Okay, so 13. 27. Oh no, 25. I'm like all over the place. All right, and 47 and 20. Can I just say that wasn't the best plan I've ever had? But anyhow.
Hey, it works.
Far be it for me to make anything simple. All right, friends. Now this, as a reader, these are the kind of readings that are sort of like a thing that's combined out of nothing, but making it into something is kind of where I love to sort of dive into this arena, because I feel like it really tests me as a reader. If that makes sense. Like if your message and my message correlate, and we did it this way with no rhyme or reason, then that's something. Does that make sense too?
It does.
Nothing makes me more excited than when that sort of comes together. Oh my God, and my cards sort of coordinate. I'm so happy.
What color is it?
Okay, so look, we've got the Gods, Goddesses, and Guardians deck. So this is orange with a little bit of white and gold. Okay. And then we have the Spirit Animal Oracle, which is this lovely sort of blue and green and yellow and got a little bit of a pinky purpley tinge to it. Yes. And I also just noticed something which is so cool. I'm like totally in my own little world. Don't mind me, friends. Talk amongst yourselves. And then we've got this deck here, which is called the Soul's Journey Oracle. Now, do you see something that is similar? I don't know why I'm picking up the deck. I just could have picked up a card. Do you see something similar here? Hold on a second. This is get my little hand around the deck of cards. Obviously, it's a total drawback. But look, we have circles on all of the decks.
We do have circles.
Like that's not by accident. How cool is that?
Very.
Sorry, I get very excited about the simplest of things. Okay. Reading.
You do you.
We're here to do a reading. That's what we're doing.
This is why we love you.
Oh my goodness. It's like I could turn off the stream and just be here for hours going, oh my God, look at circles. They all match. No?
Yes, exactly, Mandela's. Do you have a spirograph?
Yeah. Spirograph.
You need spirograph in your life.
Oh, totally. Go for it, Steph. Or do you want me to go first?
I did a couple different things. I did not follow instructions.
What?
I I think each of our perspectives is going to come through in the reading too, because I am coming off of the week of the DNC and being totally in the fields and, understanding the assignment.
I love that.
And so my tarot cards, to me, I think it's just because where my head is right now, it has to do with the presidential race here in the U.S. And I know this is not a political tarot show, but I got the King of Pentacles, which to me refers to that orange person who shall not be named. Heartbreak with the Three of Swords. And the Two of Pentacles. I know that this can mean indecision or juggling, but if you look at the guy's feet, it looks like he's walking a tightrope. So I interpret that to mean that, yeah, he's choking hard, but those of us who are on the side of the good guys just need to keep doing the work between now and November and even after that. But since this is not a political reading, I decided I would use this Plant Spirit Oracle, the deck that I mentioned to you. And I got more of what is a collective read with the Oracle deck. So here, I did my first live tarot reading with you, and now I'm jumping into Oracle with both feet. Thank you very much. This card is whoa. All right. It's sumac.
So pretty.
Yeah. So this is Staghorn sumac, which is the keyword that's jumping out to me on that is intelligence.
Yeah.
Tobacco, which is evolution and trajectory and expansion, according to the keywords.
Mm-hmm.
And hemlock, which has to do with cycles. So again, it's like
so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm so excited. This is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like busting at the seams over here to show you the cards.
Jump it in or add to it.
Okay, so let's recap, right? Mm-hmm. So we've got the King of Pentacles. Okay. Yep. Now, if we're not doing a political reading, okay, Pentacles is earth. It is your security and your safety, right? Mm-hmm. It is creating that solid foundation under you, right? Then you had the
Three of Swords.
Then you had the Three of Swords. So that is loss and sadness, but it's also the opportunity to start to heal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the Two of Pentacles. That is balance, prioritization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keeping things at this lovely level where you're bringing yourself towards more unity, more peace. You had that beautiful Fox card.
Yep.
Which speaks to us about intelligence, right?
Yep.
Intelligence. And then the next card that you had was tobacco, and that spoke to us about cycles.
Yep. Expansion, trajectory, and evolution.
Oh, sorry. And then the last card was cycles.
And the final card is hemlock, which is nature, connection, and cycles.
All right.
And then you came unglued. So tell us what you came unglued.
So we start with the lovely starfish spirit. Okay. And the starfish spirit is about infinite possibilities and being open to those infinite possibilities. So if we think back to all of the cards that Stephanie pulled, right? If we can create that solid foundation, if we feel safe, if we feel secure, if we feel grounded in the pentacle and the earth energy, right? If we have recognized that we have been hurt, but now it is time to heal, right? We're going to pull those lessons from the past, implement them, and try to move forward, right? If we prioritize and try to bring more balance and alignment towards ourselves, if we use that idea of getting quiet and bringing in those clear thinking thoughts where we can focus and we can tune in instead of allowing all the noise to interrupt us constantly and make us go all in kind of like crazy directions, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can create a pattern for ourselves, whether it be a pattern of thought, a pattern of behavior, a pattern of reaction, right? Then it becomes second nature. Then it becomes the thing that we are just doing. Then all of a sudden it's not work. You know what I mean? Now it's just part of every day. And what you've done in that process is made yourself open to all the possibilities, because now it's not just about the destination. Now it's about the journey to get there, because there's beauty and blessings in that journey. Yes. And how do we do that? How do we talk ourselves into that? How do we talk other people into that? How do we approach that? We approach that. I'm not even going to try with the name because I'm horrible. I'm so bad. I will mispronounce and it'll be awful. But look at how beautiful this picture is, with kindness and nurturing to ourselves and to others, from others to us, from us to others. Kindness and nurturing through our connection to spirit, right? And what does that lead us to? Where does that take us? If we put all of those elements together, where does that take us? Success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. Love each other, love ourselves, love our higher power, whatever that may be. Love that connection, right? Love your intuition, love your understanding, love your perspective, love your openness, love your destination, love your determination, love taking your inspired action and motivating yourself. That is really, do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you used 6 decks or 2 different decks, 6 cards that have nothing to do with each other. And I used 3 different decks and it all came together in a really beautiful way. And you said something earlier, and I think that Yasmin said something in the chat, or maybe it was Gina, that said that she was just feeling happy all day. You said about the DNC and you showed your shirt. I'm Canadian. And I was in tears the whole time because the feeling was, it was palatable. You know what I mean? Like you could feel it. It was like a vibration. Can you imagine what it would be like to be in that arena, right? Feeling that. I did a reading the other night and I said, do yourselves a favor. It was on the full moon. And I said, do yourselves a favor. Go watch some of that. I watched them rehearsing to sing the national anthem and I was in tears. And I thought, if you are feeling all kinds of funny ways with this energy, go watch that and see the joy and feel the cheers and just allow yourself to sort of bathe in that. Because there's no way you should walk away from that not feeling uplifted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's what this message was about. This message is about hope and trusting in yourself. And that, my friends, in a 2-sided situation is what reading tarot and oracle has done for me. Number 1, it taught me to learn to trust myself again. And it gave me hope that I had something to offer. I had no idea that I had this connection, and there it is. Like I've uncovered it. And I'm excited to see what more I can uncover as I continue. But the point I'm trying to make is tarot and oracle can help for all manner of things. And if you never read for a person, that's totally okay. Maybe you just read for yourself. Maybe you just pull a card every day and you stick this, in your bathroom or in your rearview mirror or in your office or something. And you say, you know what does this card say to me? How does this speak to me? how am I going to make a change in my day based on something that I see in this card? Maybe it's a color and I decide I like it and I'm going to wear that color as my socks or something. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, it can help you. It could lift you up. It can remind you of things. It can change your focus, right?
Yeah.
It can open you up to a different perspective and new understandings, and it's all inspired action and hope and having faith and trusting in yourself, because without having the trust or faith in yourself that you can do this, that you're going to get it right, that your intuition is on point, or that you and spirit are having this communicado and there's something happening there that you can't really put into words, you're not going to believe it, or you may second guess it if you're not throwing the cards down and just saying, whatever this is what I got.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what an awesome way to end a show that was supposed to be about something that it kind of turned into something else, but we brought it back. Well,
maybe we should start doing this on a monthly basis, or
right?
Certainly a lot more frequently than. How long has it been since the J6 hearings when we did that one random thing together?
Whenever Kevin McCarthy got kicked to the curb, that had to be like over a year ago, right?
Oh yeah, at least probably a couple years ago. Yeah, because Kinzinger was out after the last election, and November it'll be 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
More frequently, more regularly than every 2 years. This was a lot of fun.
Friends, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for hanging out with us. You guys know I appreciate your support more than I can possibly say. It truly means the world to me that you spend part of your day with me. Please do go show my friends some love. Trillium Tarot, I will put her link in the description box below the video so you guys can go and check her out. She does awesome walkthroughs. And when will I be back? What day is it? It's Friday. I have to think, because I'm 59. Friends, I'm 59. I don't know when that happened. But anyway, because like yesterday I was 30, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Friday. I will be back on Sunday. Yep, Sunday at 7 p.m. And we're going to do some energy readings for September.
7 p.m. Eastern?
7 p.m. Eastern. And then, friends, at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, the 28th, my great friend Ben from Beneficial Tarot is back and is joining me for one of our favorite shows that we used to do. We'll call it Tea Time. It is, I have no idea what's ever going to happen because Ben and I are off the rails more times than we're on the rails. So tune in if you can, or watch it on the replay. It is sure to be a good time. So everyone's saying it was nice to see you and they enjoyed meeting you. Everyone enjoyed themselves. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I wish you many, many blessings. Have a great weekend, and I will see you when I see you next.
Good night, everybody.
Now I just have to find my mouse so I can turn the stream off.
It's been a chaotic night.
I mean, I have stuff everywhere, and this makes me anxious. I'm usually very neat and tidy.
Mm-hmm. It'll be time to clean up tonight.
Yeah, I was just going to say cleanup time with Kelly is happening with the stream. So anyways, bye everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Good night.
Thank you, Stephanie. Don't go anywhere, by the way.
Nope, I'll stay.